Isaiah has now been forgiven, when Isaiah is now free, not that he is no longer a sinner, but that he has been covered in the blood of the sacrifice, then he hears God speaking to him. And God says, for the first time in chapter 6, God speaks. And he says, whom shall I send? And who will go for us? When I read this, my brothers and sisters, it became clear to me that before you are sent, before you can go on God's missions, you must be a person who has been touched by that coal that comes from the altar of sacrifice. In other words, your sins must be forgiven. You must be somebody who knows Christ, who has met Christ and has confessed his sins, and your sins have been forgiven. When your sins have been forgiven and washed clean, that's not the end of the story, according to what Isaiah is saying to us. Isaiah says, after his sins had been forgiven, he did not hear from the angel. He did not hear from Gabriel, nor from, but he heard straight from the mouth of God. Who shall I send, and who will go for us? In these days of the coronavirus, in these days of uncertainty, when the outlook is bleak, God is saying to his children, look up. And when you look up, you will see the sovereign God sitting on his throne. And when God sits on his throne, all is okay. Coronavirus is not going to have the last word. I know who is going to have the last word. It is God, the Lord, our Savior. And that same God is saying to you and to me this morning, whom shall I send? Are we going to be deaf like Israel of old? Are we going to have ears that hear but they don't hear? Are we going to have the minds that are dull to understand? My brothers and sisters, the time has come and the time is now to say like Isaiah did, here am I, Lord, send me. The time has come for us to say like Isaiah, I will go. Never mind what you will say. Don't worry about what you will say. God will give you what you will say. He is looking for men and women who will say like Isaiah, I will go. Is that what you are saying this morning? If you are saying the same, if you are saying the same thing that I'm saying this morning, will you bow your head with me as we consecrate ourselves to God? God is looking for men and women that he will send. He is looking for you and he is looking for me. And he wants to send us. Shall we pray? Our loving Father in heaven, we want to thank you so very much for sending Jesus. We live in a world that's not different from Isaiah's world. We live in a world that's like Sodom, just like Sodom and Gomorrah. We live in a world that's full of all the ills of the world. As we look around us, there is nothing, there is no promise. But as we look up to you, Father, we see you sitting on the throne, and we hear the word coming from the angel saying, the Lord in the earth is full of his glory. And then we hear you saying, whom shall I say? Go and tell the people. This morning, Father, we are saying to you, we are here. Touch our mouths, forgive our sins, and send us. Fill us with your Holy Spirit and send us on your mission. We are willing to go. Bring the people. Show us the people that we are working with. Show us the people to whom you have given dreams. Show us the people whose ears are ready to listen to your word. Show us, Father, lead us to those people. And when we get there, speak your words to them is our prayer. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. So, we are used to having Pastor Bonya or Pastor Machanere coming up with a group of people to read the Bible. But unfortunately, this time we are not going to do that. We are not even going to take, Pastor Braban is not going to come up in front of us and say, we can take 15 minutes break. No, there shall be no 15 minutes break. We are going to go straight into our agenda. Until the coronavirus is over, there will be no 15-minute breaks in our meetings. So we are going to ask Elder Reneke to lead us into the agenda. And I believe that all of us have received our agenda. If you have not received, we will ask you to send a message through the chat, and then you will be assisted. My mind tells me that we don't go straight into the agenda, Elder Reneke. Is there going to be a training of sorts?
Yes, Brother Chairman.
Into the agenda.
Thank you, Brother Chairman.
Yes, I will hand over to Secretariat to do that training, and then we go into our agenda.
Thank you so much, Brother Chairman. I'm first going to do the call of order, and then we are going to do the tutorial by Pastor Brabant, and then we will have 2 test motions to get the people, to just practice using Zoom. So, Brother Chairman, it is my happy privilege to tell you that a letter of invitation dated March 2, 2020 was sent to all Southern Africa Indian Ocean Division Executive Committee members and special invitees to attend this mid-year meeting. Brother Chairman, as of this morning at 9 o'clock, 77 attendees have registered. According to Article 14 of the General Conference Bylaws, Section 4, we do constitute a quorum for the transaction of business. And in terms of the same article, Section 3, I wish to remind our members of the solemn mandate that is ours as we commence the business for this session. Brother Chairman, we eagerly await your call to order of the SID 2020 Mid-Year Executive Committee meeting. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Elder Reneke. The meeting is officially opened. You can proceed now to the training.
Thank you, Brother Chairman. Pastor Brabant is going to do a tutorial, so he's going to speak and share his screen. So thank you, Brother Brabant. Pastor Brabant can maybe unmute himself.
Hello? Hello? Good morning to everyone. We apologize for the delay. There were technical challenges, and I think now we are ready to do the training, the short training regarding this Zoom meeting. Let me inform you that you need to register properly. Okay, what needs to be done to register properly? First of all, you need to use your full name as you register to the Zoom application. This will help us to identify who you are and who is attending the meeting. So we don't want to see the name like iPad 437 or dad's phone. You need to put your complete name as you register to the Zoom meeting. Secondly, this is how it looks like. When you register, we want to see your full name on the list of participants and not the name of your iPhone or iPad and so on. Now, if you have a poor connectivity, what should you do? So if you are in an area where the connectivity is poor, please remove or stop the video on your Zoom when attending the meeting. By doing so, you will have a better chance to listen to the discussion and to participate. So you just, as you can see on the picture, you just have to go at the bottom of the Zoom application and you stop the video in case if your connectivity is poor. Now, if you are more than one in a room, what will happen? So each member should have his or her own device for the sake of voting. So this is important that each one should have his own device if you are more than one in a room. Only one device in a room should be used for speaking. The other devices must be muted to avoid echo. Let's go for a test so that you understand what I'm talking about. So we don't want to have this kind of echo if you are more than one in a room, so please mute your device. Now, if you need translation, this is what you need to do. Click on interpretation and select Portuguese. Yes, because we have a few of our members who speak Portuguese, so there's this possibility for them to listen or to be translated into Portuguese as they attend this meeting. As you can see on the screen, at the bottom of the Zoom application, there is interpretation, and then you click Portuguese if you need to be translated into Portuguese, and then the translation will happen. Now, if you want to second a motion, what needs to be done? Please go to Reactions and click on Thumbs Up to second a motion. We don't want a verbal second when a motion is moved, but we want you to use the thumbs up in the Zoom application. And after a few seconds, the thumbs up will disappear automatically. Let me show you how this will be done. So you go at the bottom of your Zoom application and you can see there it says reaction. So you click on reaction and then the thumbs up will appear and you just need to choose not the clap but the thumbs up. You click on it and then it will appear on the screen and then the chairman will be able to identify you as you are seconding the motion. Okay? Let's go for a test now. Okay? I'm going to stop my sharing my screen, and then we can have a test now to second a motion. You can just go to the reaction and click on the thumbs up to see if it appears on the screen. Let's use the thumbs up right now so that the chairman can see the thumbs up. Yes, most of you has used now. Thank you. This is the way that you need to do when you want to second a motion. There is no need for you to speak, but just to use the thumbs up. Thank you so much for using the thumbs up. Let me now share again my screen, and we'll continue our training. Now, if you want to speak, what needs to be done? It may be a prayer request, we pray already, but if there is an urgent prayer request, we can also use that. If you want to comment or make an observation, or maybe a point of order, what needs to be done? So you just need to go to the chat box and send your name to Maria Sangronis, asking to speak. We don't want a message via email or no WhatsApp, but just go to the chat box and look for the name of Maria, and you will send to her your name. And she will know that, and the chairman will know by that way that you want to speak. And if you have a point of order, you just also type your name and then write point of order. In doing so, the chairman will know that you want to speak and you have a point of order. So go to the chat and write to send your name to Maria. So when the chair recognizes you, then we will unmute you. At this time, all of us are muted. So there is no need for you to click on unmute and so on. We don't want to have different people who are speaking. So when the chair will recognize you, we will unmute you. You will see a message on your screen that you agree to unmute. You will then be able to speak. When you are done speaking, we will remute you. So this is how it appears on your application. If you are using a computer, you go at the bottom of your application, of the Zoom application, you see chat, okay? And then when you click on the chat, you have to look for the name of Maria where it says everyone. So you're not going to write to everyone, but you look for the name of Maria, okay? And then at the bottom, you type your name, and then after a few seconds, the chairman will be able to know that you want to speak or to say something. And as I said a while ago, if it's a point of order, you just type your name and then says point of order, and you send your name to Maria. And then the chairman will be able to identify you. If you are using a cell or mobile application, this is how it will be. You go to More at the bottom of the Zoom application, and then it will show you the chat, and then you look for the name of Maria, and you send your name to Maria, and the chairman will be able to identify you. Let's go for a test now, okay? I'm going to stop sharing just for a few minutes, okay? And then we are going for a test, and I invite some of you now, right now, just to go to the chat and send your name to Maria. And then after a few seconds, the chairman will be able to know who wants to speak or who wants to say something. Okay, let's start right now. When you go to the chat, please look for the name Maria, send your name, and then the chairman will be able to identify you. Maybe we need to unmute the chairman, please.
I have Sister Chola, Dabezinhle Masugu, Muchandi Dafi Lemon, and Ken Delets.
So it works very well. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. So let me continue now to share my screen. We'll continue with the training. Now, how to cast your vote. Okay, this will be the last part of my presentation, how to cast your vote. When it's time to vote, the chairman will prompt the voting process. Okay. Then the polling coordinator will ensure that the ballot will appear on the screen, so it will appear on your screen. The ballot remains visible for approximately 30 seconds to give you enough time to cast your vote. So when it's time, as I said, the chairman will prompt the voting system. The polling coordinator will ensure that the ballot will appear on the screen, and you will have like mostly 30 seconds to cast your vote. Okay, this is how it looks like. When the chairman will announce that it's time to vote, a screen like this one will appear on your screen, and you will have to say yes or no to the motion, and then you can submit your vote. I think now we are ready for a test, and I will give the floor to the executive secretary that will lead us now to the test motion.
So, Brother Chairman, we have 2 test motions. And so people will be able, there will be a polling screen that will pop up, as Pastor Baba explained, and then people will be able to vote, and they will be able to see, you will be able to communicate the result. So if we can ask, if some people can maybe say yes and some people can say no, that we can see the difference. So the test motion is this, Brother Chairman, that I move that we disfellowship member COVID-19.
Is it seconded? It's seconded, yes. We are going to jump the discussion part, and I see Pastor Choka is also seconded. Now we are requesting the screen, since it's a very straightforward motion, we're going to request this voting screen to be on, and that we cast our vote. Those in favor, you click on yes. Those opposed, click on no. I request that there be no people who will abstain. Let us vote. Right. Those who show us the results now, we had 10% abstaining, we had 38% no, we have 51% yes, so the motion carries. Okay, so this is how the vote is going to go.
So we have, thank you, Brother Chairman, we have one more test. And then I think the people, we have sharp people, then we will be ready to go. So the next motion, Brother Chairman, is I move that we prepare the world for Jesus' soon coming like never before.
Is it seconded? This time I don't want Pastor Prabhan to second it, remove it, Pastor. Elder Dambula has seconded it. Wonderful, wonderful. Yes. Okay. Let's say it has been discussed. Now it's ready. The vote. The screen, please. The screen is before you. Vote as the Spirit speaks to you. Okay. Yes. Wonderful, wonderful. The yes have it. Yes, 96%, and the no is 4%. Thank you very much. The item carries.
Thank you very much, Brother Chairman. If you allow us, we can go to item number 103 now.
Yes. Now this is real stuff. We're getting into real stuff now. We are not practicing anymore. And the beauty of this thing is I'm not going to say, sister, by the way, what's your name, or brother, No.
Okay.
This one comes with names. So
Just hold on. Listen, watch
Okay.
for that.
let's go.
Thank you, Brother Chairman. Item number 103, approval of the previous minutes. I move that we approve the minutes of the 2019 year-end executive committee, and I move that we approve the minutes of the special Excom, March 18, 2020.
The minutes are moved, and when we move them, we are saying you approve them as a correct record of what transpired. I see it's seconded already. It's now, the minutes are before us. We didn't get any feedback. Elder Reneke didn't tell me we got any feedback, so we assume that the minutes are a correct record. So all in favor, let's have the voting screen. Vote as per your conscience. I tell you, working through Zoom is wonderful. No treasurer can complain that the budget, no. It's so powerful. Only that some people, the item carries 99% yes and 1% no. The item carries. Okay, next item.
Thank you, Brother Chairman. The next one is the mission statement of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Brother Chairman, our mission is to make disciples of Jesus Christ, to live as his loving witnesses and proclaim to all people the everlasting gospel of the three angels' messages in preparation for his soon return, according to Matthew 28, verse 18 to 20, Acts 1, verse 8, and Revelation 14, verse 6 to 12. Our method is guided by the Bible and the Holy Spirit. Seventh-day Adventists pursue this mission through Christ-like living, communicating, discipling, teaching, healing, and serving. And our vision is in harmony with Bible revelation. Seventh-day Adventists see as the climax of God's plan the restoration of all his creation to full harmony with his perfect will and righteousness. Brother Chairman, I move, Brother Chairman, that we affirm the official mission statement of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, which was read by myself.
That motion is there before us, and all in favor of affirming, let us show by voting to the affirmative. The screen, please. Okay, I was saying that the treasurers should be thinking of sitting allowances. I can already see my treasurer frowning at me. Okay, I think we can have the results now. 100%, the item carries. Next.
Brother Chairman, just a reminder, maybe SID IT can help us. I see that we have had some questions about is this being live streamed? Is this available to the public? Maybe Tembi can speak to that point. And then if someone would like to raise, if they want to add a comment or speak, or if they want to speak, they need to send their name to Maria Sangronis in the chat box. And if they want to raise a point of order, they still send their name, and they just put behind their name, they put point of order. So just as a reminder, Brother Chairman. So maybe IT, Brother Tembi can help us with the live stream.
Yes, Mr. Moyo.
Yes, Elder Chair, the meeting is being live streamed both on Facebook and on YouTube.
Okay, thank you. And just before anyone asks us why we are doing this, we are following the example of the General Conference itself. We being a division of the General Conference, we are doing what our mother body does. All the meetings, when I say all, I mean the Executive Committee is live streamed. Okay, we then move on.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Item number 105. I move that we adopt the daily program of the SID 2020 Mid-Year Executive Committee.
The daily program was sent to us, and if possible, we are going to ask Pastor Brabant to put it up on the screen for the sake of those who maybe have only one device and they cannot see the thing and they could not print. So the program is before us, and I will also request the House to look at the program, and then after that we will vote. Okay. Okay. Are you still scrolling, Pastor Brabant? Okay, that's the program, and according to the program, it's a beautiful program. I really like it because our meeting ends today. Wow, first time in history. We are happy for that. So the program is before you, and it's been moved and seconded. What do you want now about it? If you are in favor, let's have the screen, the voting screen before us, and then we vote.
I think people need to second, Brother Chairman.
Oh, you had not, there was no second, all right. Anyone to second the program? Okay, it's seconded. Let's vote. The voting screen, please.
Mr. Chairman, is not yet prepared. Would you give us 2 more minutes to set it up?
Okay, can we try Viva Voce? Can we try the vote as you are setting up, the voice vote? If the people are unmuted, we can say aye, and we will judge by the volume of ayes whether the item carries. Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Thank you very much. We are going to move on to the next one.
Brother Chairman, thank you very much. The next item is item number 106, the conflict of interest or statement of acceptance. I would like to remind our executive committee members, Brother Chairman, that they now, because it's electronic, we would like them to complete the conflict of interest form that was sent to them, and please return it to Lindiwe Mbing at sid.adventist.org, please.
Okay. I will request the IT people not to mute the chair and the secretary, please. I know it's a learning curve for all of us. We are learning. The conflict of interest forms are very critical to the running of committees. So we request all of you, brethren and sisters, to please do sign. They were sent to you. If they were not sent, please notify the secretariat or notify Maria as per instruction during training, so that you also get one. And when you get it, please, it's significant, it's audited. We don't want to be cited because you didn't forward it back. It's an audited item. Okay, thank you very much. We move on to the next one, Elder.
Thank you so much, Brother Chairman. Item 107, SID 2020 Session and Year-End Committee Schedule of Union. I move that we approve the SID 2020 Session and Year-End Committee Schedule of Unions and attached field, subject to the status of the coronavirus. And Pastor Brava will share his screen, Brother Chair.
Okay. Any second to that as the screen is shown? Any second? Yes. Yes, seconded. Okay. Yes, go ahead, Pastor Brava.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. This is the schedule that we want to present to this executive committee. We have here on the screen the dates of the session for the unions and also the year-end committee. Before I go for this document, just allow me to remind or to say, sorry, to this house that this schedule was presented to the Secretariat Council, so the Executive Secretary are fully aware of the proposal that we are doing this morning for the session and for the Excom or year-end Excom of each union. So for ACU, the date of the session is 18 to 20 September 2020, and the Excom on the 22 to 23 November 2020. Northeastern Angola Union Mission, their session will be on the 16th of November, and the Excom the following day, 17th of November. Southwestern Angola Union Mission, 18th of November, the session, and the Excom on the 19th of November. Northern Zambia, the session on the 17th of November, and the Excom 18th and 19th of November. Mozambique, 23, the session, 23 November, and Excom 24 November. For Botswana, the session is to be arranged. As you know, we have already taken some action on that. So we are still waiting for the coronavirus and the situation. And then we will also inform Botswana when things will be better. For the Excom, so it will be on the 26th of November. Excom 26th of November. IOUC, the session will be on the 30th of November to the 2nd of December in the morning. And for the Excom, the 2nd of December in the afternoon, until the 3rd of December. Zimbabwe East, so the 1st of December will be the Excom. There is no session this year for the Zimbabwe because of the recent realignment that took place a few years ago. Zimbabwe Central will have the Excom on the 2nd of December. Zimbabwe West, the 3rd of December, the Excom. Southern Zambia, the session the 8th of December. Excom on the 9th and the 10th of December. Sao Tome and Principe, the session will be on the 8th of December, Excom on the 9th of December, and Malawi, the session will be the 14th of December, and the Excom 15th and 16th of December. This is the dates or the schedule for the union regarding the year-end committee and their session, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. The schedule of sessions and year-end meetings is before us. We want to open it up for discussion now. I have the name of Elder Bapirana here.
And just before, there was Nyaradzu Maposa, Brother Chair.
Yes. Go ahead, Elder Rana.
Mine is morning.
Morning.
My comment is on Angola and Mozambique. We are not Union Conference, we are Union Mission. So this session is for departmental director or for the officers.
Okay. The session is for the departmental directors, because your names will be reviewed at the end of the year, this coming end of the year. Yeah, all unions run on a quinquennial cycle, and so end of the year when the Excom sits, that review will take place.
Okay, that's clear, Mr. Chairman. If it's for departmental director, it's fine.
Yes. Then Sister Nyaradzo Maposa there, and then Elder Kenaope, I was going to recognize him. He had a point of order up there. The learned sister.
Mr. Chair, her sound is not configured properly. Let me try and work with her, and then she'll get back to us.
Okay. So in the meantime, we'll ask Elder Kenaope to seek the clarification that she needs.
Hello, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
It's on the session dates for Botswana Union Conference. I know that the year-end Excom of Botswana Union took an action and put the dates. I'm also aware, although I may not agree, that there are some actions, as the Associate Secretary has said, but I know also that we have been making some attempts to discuss this with the division. So I just want to be made to understand whether or not it will be proper at this stage to accept this as is provided, or because his reasoning is to be arranged is because of coronavirus and what. So I want to know so that we don't ask irrelevant questions on this platform.
Yes, if the elder remembers, the officers of the division did say we are setting a day where we are going to discuss these items. Okay. Can we unmute Dr. Kenaope, please? Yes, go ahead, Dr. Kenaope. Let's hear.
Yes, no, I was saying I accept your response, Mr. Chairman, but this schedule, the way it is placed, it is tantamount to mislead the public more so that this is live streamed and some people may not know the background. Already people know our session dates, not necessarily the current actions that were taken. So I'm just saying, while I agree with your advice to say we'll have meetings, but this schedule is not speaking for that and is likely going to kind of mislead.
Okay, Dr. Kenaope. I just want to remind the speaker that dates always have to be approved by higher organizations. And if higher organization has not approved that date, the date will not necessarily stand. That's why Secretariat sat down, looked at the dates, discussed the dates, and then brings them after discussion. So, as I said earlier on, we have set aside time where we are going to sit down and talk about these things, and it will be this week, as per our previous discussion. Okay, I don't know if IT is ready. Oh, by the way, before you go, Elder Genaube, you had a point of order earlier on. After we vote this, we are going to give you the time for your point of order. Okay. I don't know if our sister is ready. Well, yes. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just trying to explain that I had requested the conflict of interest form. It wasn't that I needed to say something.
Okay. Okay. Elder Kombwa, I see you want to say something, and then we'll vote. Elder Harrington Kombwa.
Have I been unmuted?
Yeah. Go ahead, Elder. Speak now.
My feeling, Chair, is that this item should have come after we discussed the session item, whether we are having sessions or we are not having. But to put them together at this stage is, as it were, muzzling an ox. It is like we are selling a book on a minor point. We are curtailing free discussion on the item of sessions. The General Conference, going by its constitution and bylaws, sat down to discuss. And based on what we say when we were having the union officers and division officers meeting, the unions are governed by their own constitutions. So let the unions also, under their constitution, discuss the same way the General Conference was able to discuss. And not that it's the General Conference and the division making the decision. So the way it's coming, I see that we are not letting room for free discussion, because we will discuss after it's already voted that we will have sessions. If it's just the dates, then it would be okay. But the way it is, we are voting the concept and the dates. And I feel that for me, this would not be the best. We should have let this come after we discuss the major item. Then it will just flow. I thank you, Chair.
Okay, now I hear you, Elder Kombwa. This document here that is before us assumes, and as has been said, that it was brought to Secretariat. It assumes that we follow what has been done in all quinquenniums. When dates are done, it is usually that the higher organization has the last say on these dates, and for various reasons. And one of the reasons being availability of staff, etc. So it has always been like that. Nothing has changed. Things continue as they are. The GC moved forward their session because of the COVID-19, but they do have tentative dates. Even these dates that we have here on the screen are tentative dates. They are all subject to the direction that the coronavirus will take. If these dates, if we get to these dates and the coronavirus is still going strong in our countries, it's obvious, it goes without saying that the sessions will not be there. That's why the GC made a provision of 2 years, but then they said, well, we start with 2021. So it's a question of playing things by the ear. That's what it is. And I can still remember from the time I was a union secretary, this was the thing. It was the division that had the final say on the debate of the session. And I came to the division as secretary. That the same thing still goes. Nothing has changed. Yes.
Brother Chairman?
Yes, Elder.
I think if I understood Pastor Akombo well, I think he said if we had done item number 112, General Conference Session Updates, you know, when the General Conference will be, when the Division Council will be, and explain that first, it would have been easier if I heard him correctly, Brother Chair. The two would have complemented each other.
Okay, I have no problem with that. I have absolutely no problem with that. I was just explaining the approval of dates, how dates have always been approved. It's been like that. We haven't changed, and it works. It makes life easy at the division because who will go, who will not go. Okay. If you want us to table this one, if there is a motion to that effect, we will table it. But if there is no motion, we'll put it to vote.
We have two speakers, Brother Chair.
Yes.
Three now.
Okay. We have Elder Musangwira, and then we'll have Elder Kenoke. We'll start with Elder Musangwira.
Brother Chair. Brother Chairman, Brother Serole first.
Okay, we will come to Elder Serole. Let's start that way and then go up.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, Elder Mwira.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Elder Mwira, are you there?
Yes.
I see he is muted now.
Yes, Mr. Chair. In terms of this arrangement, when it's voted, I don't know whether we have also considered the financial impact that the coronavirus is going to have. Because let's say it's the coronavirus finishes just in a week, and our income levels, as you are going to see, have been adversely affected. So I don't know whether we are going again to come back and readjust the dates in terms of the income that will come in. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. No, that's a good point. Look, we are in this thing together. We have ears that work. That's why we are a committee. That's why we're a committee. It's before us, and the vote, the direction of the vote will go according to how the House sees it. When we looked at things, we thought we should bring this thing because constitutionally, these efforts must take place. Okay, then we have Elder
Some people are not here.
Kamangwe Sirole.
This kind of transparency
Yes,
is a problem.
Thank you, Chef. I just have a few things that I needed to understand. Number one,
Listen.
I'm hearing the submissions that are coming up, and I need to understand. Normally, what is supposed to happen? Number one, the dates for them to come to the executive committee. What is their process? Is it secretariat? I've heard that secretariat says that the executive secretaries are aware of them. Does that mean that they have had discussions with them about that, and they have had they have agreed upon them when they are coming here, or it means what is the process? They are just surprised with them here, or what? And entailed in that is, if normally the discussion is that the division discusses with the unions, if the unions have known about it, does that mean that they are supposed to communicate to their fellow officers so that the unions are in loop, or everyone gets to be surprised to meet the action on the floor? The other thing that I would like to understand is the issue of precedence. Normally what is supposed to happen, because I understand Brother Kenope saying the union has an action, and the division took an action. Now I just want to understand the issue of process, which takes precedence, the union action or the higher organization action, especially if it is policy compliant. The last one speaks to issues of sessions. I don't know if I should ask a clarity here, or I will do it when we are discussing sessions.
Reneke, please help me check the notes there. The questions are going to be too many.
No, they are just, I'm done.
You are done.
Yeah.
Okay, the first one, the process. The process, the way I have seen it happen is that Secretariat speaks to Secretariat, and Secretariat at the union speaks to the leaders, and the answer is brought back, and it's between Secretariat and Secretariat, and of course Secretariat will not act independently. They will include the other leaders, and then they agree before it comes here. That's how I have always known it to be. The union cannot take a date on its own because of the availability of staff at the division. That's the process that I have known since I was at the conference union and then here at the division. This is how we have always done it. We speak to unions and we say, okay, these are the proposed dates. What do you think? And then we debate. If there is something that's not, that's going to be a hit, we discuss that until we arrive at a conclusion. And then after we have arrived at a conclusion, then we bring it to the Excom and it is voted. And that's how we have always done it. Right, that was number one. And then when the union takes a vote, normally that vote is taken after there has been consultation with the division. Otherwise, if a union takes a vote and the division personnel is not available, then that date will not be serviced. It's not serviceable. That's why there has always to be an agreement between higher organization, and the way I have seen it, higher organization, because of their schedules, they always have the last word, and then it works that way. That's what I know, and I have been here at the division for quite a few years now. Okay, I think I have covered your questions. I have Elder Kenope there, and then I will have, in this order, it will be Elder Kenope, after him Elder Sinyangwe, after him Elder Masuku, after him Elder Oriu, Elder Ngomba. Elder Ngomba is an officer, he can speak anytime. And then Pastor Msimanga last, in that order. Pastor Ngomba, you have something to say, please say before Elder Sinyangwe speaks. Elder Ngomba?
Okay. Mr. Chair, I would like to to speak in support of the motion. My point I want to make is that to me, I feel that it's important for us to vote the schedule. Though, as you mentioned, Mr. Chair, tentatively. The reason is that we are not sure how the coronavirus is going to affect all the unions. So if we vote it tentatively, if there is a challenge in a particular union, there would be a visit to those dates. And we also know that the coronavirus impact is not going to be possibly the same in all the unions. So if we have this schedule voted, it will give room for the union to prepare. And if there is a problem, that problem will be looked at based on the merits and based on the challenges that will be there. Thank you so much, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Thank you. We have Elder Kenaupe and then Elder Kenaupe, then Elder Sinyang.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had raised a point of order, but I think it has been overtaken by events.
Yeah, sorry.
But it was exactly on there were two items, the schedule and this one. But I think Dr. Akombwa has mentioned part of what I wanted to share, to say, look, I don't think schedules would make us take a long time to vote. But probably I would also lead with the chair that let's discuss the GC item on session and then vote on this. There is a good reason for that, unless if you want us to start raising a lot of questions and then we take a long time. But I think like the treasurer said, look, situations are different from one union to another, so that one I think is okay. My only point, Mr. Chair, where I need your clarification is, you say that the division usually when they set days for sessions, they would have consulted with officers of unions, but I just want to know if this was done. If other unions were consulted, that's fine. But I just want to know, because constitutionally, if the General Conference, because you are the General Conference, if the General Conference will respect its constitution, its Union Executive Committee setting dates, of course we know is in consultation with the division or with your ability. So in terms of the constitution, are we saying the division secretariat has the absolute final word to say, bring to the committee, and we are sitting here asking questions? Personally, I think I need to understand that, because these days you never know which constitution says what, whether to agree with it. Are we saying, is the secretariat supposed to suggest days to get consulted? Because at the moment, personally, I don't know if we were consulted. If someone else within our team was consulted, then I don't know. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, thank you. I still stand by what I said. It's consultation between the union and the division. And the reason I've already made it clear, it is because you don't want to set a session date as a union and there are no people from the division who will come. You see, think we have gone past it. Okay, yes, we go to the GC one.
So, Brother Chairman, item number 112, the General Conference session updates. You can maybe speak to it, and then I'll move that we record the receipt of the 2021 General Conference session updates after you have spoken.
Okay, in the General Conference, we had an executive committee, a mid-year executive committee not too long ago. And even before that, we had discussions with the GC leadership. And GC, because of the coronavirus, they made a provision of 2 years. Because none of us can go into America now except perhaps American citizens. So the GC made a provision of 2 years. Then they said they are moving the GC session forward by up 2 years, but first of all, starting in 2021, to observe the activities of the coronavirus. If things subside, then in 2021, in May, the GC is going to have its session. And then the GC said that initially they had said divisions can have their division councils as and when they want to do so. And then after a while, the legal counsel at the GC said, no, let the division councils be held after the GC session. So the same was communicated to us again. So the GC session has been moved forward, and this was sent to all unions, I believe, that GC will have its session in May 2021. And if when we get to May 21, the coronavirus is still very active and people can't get into the United States, it will be moved to 2022. But the hope is that the session will be held in 2021. Then we asked about unions. We said, what do our unions do? Do they also move their sessions to, then they said no. The answer was no. Unions are governed by their own constitutions. Now, if the constitutions say quinquennial cycle, it will be a quinquennial cycle. But also, it was noted that this will also depend on what coronavirus will be doing. If by the end of the year, the coronavirus has subsided, then the unions will have their sessions at the end of the year. So that's where we are. That's what we have. That's what is before us. Now you can make your comments, Elder Secretary.
Thank you, Brother Chairman. Yes, with your good explanation, Brother Chairman, I move that we record receipt of the 2021 General Conference session updates, and further to note that the Division Council will take place just after the General Conference session in 2021.
Is it seconded? We are just receiving information from the GC. Yes, Elder, is it seconded there? I'm not able to see everybody. It's seconded.
Yes, seconded, Brother.
Okay. Yes, it's seconded. Okay, does anyone want to make an observation on this? I think I'll be having new names here. I don't have any new names here. So all in favor, please. Let's have the voting thing. The voting screen there, please. I have Sister Sikwa here. I don't know if she wants to speak on this. Dr. Sikwa.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I wanted just a clarification. Why are we taking these two in block? Because it says the GC is the receiving of information. But now number B, it seems to be already a decision within it to say the division directors elections will automatically take place after that. What if we want to discuss? I don't want to discuss the information because that is information, but I wanted to discuss the other part, but they are combined as a block. How do I move forward?
Okay, we can remove that, but I can see the logic of secretariat. The logic of secretariat is that when we have a division council, that's exactly what happens. Departmental directors are then elected because the division officers are elected during the session, during the GC session. That's when they are elected. Then after the officers are elected, then they go now to have a division council. They can choose to have the division council in the United States, or they can choose to have it here on the continent. So it's all up to the administration of the division to choose where. Okay, so that's the reason why there is nothing other than that. I'm not sure. I think I've answered, unless
Brother Chairman, there's a point of order.
A point of order, yes.
By Dr. Kenobe.
Oh, is this not the old point of order that? Or it's a new one?
Mr. Chairman, I think there is more like a delay in the systems here. That point of order, what I needed, I think if you look through, is a clarification. I think there is something going on. You will forgive me. Maybe it's not a point of, it's a clarification, Mr. Chairman.
I thought so.
Yes.
That's why
the point of order is okay. The clarification, Mr. Chair, is on those who are affected by the decision of the General Conference, like committee members, like in my case. They had indicated the information they needed from their Excom members. But there is a little ambiguity, because what they wrote was that the members, I'm not asking for myself, they said the members were now invited to be on with them until May. But after your explanation in the officers' meeting and the presidential council, I went and looked at the document again. Then I said, well, you need to clarify it, or probably ask them to write the union, particularly union representatives, to say to them, well, this would be as long as you are not affected by your sessions. That's why in the previous meeting, we did indicate that the general principle they had shared at first was that everything will run up to May. But after your explanation, I think they need to write the committee members and advise us appropriately. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
But otherwise, I don't have any issues with the issue.
It's pretty much straightforward. Okay. Yes, then we have Jan and then Eldarana. You have your observation, unless if the ITP people forgot to remove your name. But from what I have here, you have an observation to make, Eldarana.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, my observation is on Division Council. You have rightly said that Division Council is after a General Conference session, which is right, where the departmental directors of the divisions are elected. At the same time, those officers of the union missions are also elected. They are elected by the Division Council. So I'm wondering where will be the election of the union officers who are union missions.
Okay, the union officers, according to constitution, they are elected by the executive committee of the division. They are actually appointed. That's what policy says. It says they are appointed. So it's not exactly an election for missions, it's an appointment. Now, if the union is a union conference, that's where they have an election. Yes. Thank you. There will be, as I said earlier, at the end of the year, the executive committee will sit down so that union missions also go through what the other union conferences will also have gone through. Okay. All right. I see that on this one there is no. I see the name of Sister Sikwa is there again for follow-up. We will limit follow-ups, otherwise if we let them go on and on and on and on, see how much time it has taken us to go through these things. Sister Sikwa, this will be your last follow-up and then we'll move on.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Could you please clarify, because what I've observed is that the previous information from the General Conference, as you have rightfully said, it had indicated the divisions to be having leeway on how they deal with their own. Now, in this event where the GC has said, depending on the coronavirus, it can go on for up to the next 2 years. Is the understanding then that directors and all of them are supposed to be in those offices for the next 2 years? If for whatever reason there is a need for addition or subtraction on directors, how is that supposed to be dealt with?
Which directors, if you can help me?
At the division level. I'm asking, for example, in the Health Minister's Department, we do not have an associate, and one of the reasons we couldn't get an associate was because we were so close to the General Conference and we could go in and we knew that the voting would go in. But now everything is being moved forward, so it makes it difficult for one to understand, is this the part where now we bring in names for an associate, or the vacancies that may be in there, are they coming in for the next 2 years? Does everything wait until 2 years? That's what I want to understand, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, everything waits until 2 years. And also, someone did mention this in passing. At this current moment, with the coronavirus hanging, or the cloud of the coronavirus hanging on us like this, we are not even thinking associates. We may even be thinking of let's see how this stuff can the organization, can the amount of money that we have carry the number of people that we have. So we may not be adding anything. I don't know that even in the new, after the coronavirus is over, that immediately the organizations will have recovered and they will be thinking of adding stuff. I am not too sure about that. Right now, the organization is really trying to see how money can be managed so that we pull through. Okay. Thank you very much. We'll move on to the next one. Otherwise, let's put this one to a vote. Can we have the voting screen, please? Let's have the voting screen. Okay. If you are in favor, you will vote yes. If you are not in favor of receiving the report from the General Conference, you will vote no. This is just receiving information. Okay, I think by now we will have the results. Okay, the item carries, the information is received. We go back to the one that we were on.
Yes, Brother Chairman. Item number 107, the SID 2020 session and year-end committee schedule of unions and attached field.
Okay, the schedule was before us, and I think it will be put before us. I think we have given it enough attention. We will have one or two people, and then we put it to a vote. You will make the decision by the vote. Otherwise, we spend the whole day on this one. Okay.
So, Brother Chairman.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, maybe, just to answer some of the questions that came. These are not cast in concrete dates. Obviously, we want to vote it, but if the coronavirus has an impact, Brother Chairman, we, like you have said, in the past, we have been in constant communication with the executive secretaries of the unions to negotiate, and they as officers discuss this. And so if the coronavirus has an impact and dates need to be moved, it can be brought to an EXCOM, because we will need to adjust. We cannot be forceful about it.
Okay. I think in all fairness, we have discussed this. Let's put the voting screen and vote it up or down. Instead of seeing the voting screen, I see the face of Elder Reneg.
The voting screen is better, Brother Chairman.
But Rona thinks otherwise. Voting screen, please. Yes, it's before us. Okay. Right. Okay. Let's see the results. Okay. The screen is before us. I thought we had taken this vote. It's about the schedule. The schedule, please vote. Okay, let's see the results and then we move on. Okay, the item carries. We move on.
Thank you, Brother Chairman. Item number 108, the 2020 unaudited financial statements.
Elder CFO, this is your time. Can you lead us in the finances of the division? How are we standing there? Elder Ngomba.
Please unmute me. Okay. Good morning, Mr. Chair. I would like to suggest that we start with the Treasurer's report because I'm going to make some brief information before the financial statements are presented. I don't know. Here we can start with that one, so that the financial statements will come after my report.
All right, thank you. I think it's a good order.
But Brother Chairman, there's just a point of order on the chat.
Okay. What is the order, Dr. Sikwa?
The system I think is latent. When we were voting, I had the wrong action to vote on. Everybody was voting on the year and mine was given, it was a wrong item. That's why I was calling an urgent order, because I was not voting since I had the wrong one. But I can see that then they resent. That's why you had that later. So just check that we are not voting the wrong items, because I had a different item to vote on.
Okay. All right. All right. We'll take note of that. And please, when we raise point of order, let's stay with the point of order. Okay. Let's move on.
There was another point of order, Brother Chairman.
Which has been deleted on my phone.
Yes, it was, first of all, it was Pastor Oriu, and then another point of order by Brother Sirole.
Okay, we start with Pastor Oriu and Elder Sirole. I thought it was no longer there because it was deleted. Yes, Pastor Oriu and then Elder Sirole. Pastor Sirole.
Thank you, Elder Chair. I was going to speak on the previous motion, but it is already voted. It's okay for me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Elder Sirole.
Well, my point of order, Pastor Chair, was I was given a wrong form to sign. To vote on. I was to vote to this fellowship Corona. So that to me was out of order. And but it has since been corrected. I don't know how we can be advised, the Chair, because when we punch in to communicate, by the time it reaches you, we are dealing with the second item, and it becomes our whatever wanted to communicate becomes irrelevant.
Oh, I see.
I don't know if the delay is with the communication, they are overwhelmed, or technical, they are overwhelmed, or where is the gap? Because I have since tried to, when I see the delay, I try to raise my hand and please advise how best we can communicate so that we don't become irrelevant.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm happy you are bringing such things up. And I would like to be the first one who owns up. This is a first of its kind in as far as us having a large team like this one. So our IT is learning. We are also learning. Just bear with us and keep those points of order. If they are as genuine as you are saying now, keep them coming. We will get it right. We will get it right. In a smaller group, it works perfectly well, but in a larger group like ours, it may have its hitches. But I take your point, and on behalf of our IT team, I think we are going to really make sure that we don't send the Corona one, we'll send the right one. Thank you. Let's have, that was the last point of order, then we move on. We are still waiting for Elder Ngomba's item to be put on the screen, please. Elder Ngomba's item, please, on the screen.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I've got a two-page report. I would like to start with a report on the COVID-19 and budgetary considerations for 2021. I would like to start with that one, and after that one, I want to say something just a little bit about our finances before the financial statements are presented. So may we have the write-up on the budgets in view of coronavirus.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, on the screen there is this short document. This document is just giving the committee some observations that may be useful as the organizations and entities prepare the budgets for 2021. Because of time, I will just read first and then we move forward. COVID-19 and budgetary considerations for 2021. It is a known fact that COVID-19 has brought serious challenges in all sectors of life in the world, including the business sector. As a matter of fact, the church organizations have not been spared. We have witnessed in almost all the countries in our territory that church gatherings have either been totally banned or seriously restricted. This has resulted in drastic drop in incomes, tithes and offerings, and the school fees for our educational facilities. Reduction in income will negatively affect church operations in both short-term as well as long-term. Consequently, preparing budgets for 2021 will be a challenging exercise. The following points may stimulate our thinking as we prepare budgets for 2021. Number one, current budget versus flexible budget. COVID-19 has impacted on budgets. This may require organizations to resort to flexible budgets. A flexible budget is a budget that is adjusted with changes in volume or activity. In this case, revenue or income has drastically changed downwards. Management may flex the budget in response to reduced income or unforeseen needs. This means the budget may require revision multiple times in response to income trends and needs. Secondly, Mr. Chair, conservative approach versus traditional approach. By practice, ecclesiastical entities budget at 95% of the annualized income of the current year for the coming year. In the current situation, this policy may not work considering that the actual income used to calculate the annualized income may be far much lower than what is normal. It may be necessary to use the same actual income realized in the today's month and annualize it without applying the 95% as budget income for the coming year. Number three, fixed expenses versus variable expenses. Organizations should prioritize fixed expenses over variable expenses as budgets are prepared. Fixed expenses are the ones which are essential, mostly we call them essential expenses, and they include things like salaries, utilities, rentals, insurance, loan payments, trust fund remittances, etc. And the variable or non-essential expenses include wages, travel expenses, stationery, staff retreat expenses, and allowances. Number four, basic salary versus allowances. Reviewing and revision of certain allowances may be very necessary. Due to insufficient income, some organizations may not be able to pay both basic salaries and allowances. However, when the situation improves, budgets could be revised upwards. Revising budgets upwards is better than revising budgets downwards. Therefore, it is very important that a revision or a review of certain allowances that we provide may be necessary so that the organization moves forward. Better. Number five, Mr. Chair, technological assets versus capital assets. Organizations may not have resources to implement capital projects or buy capital assets. However, COVID-19 has brought a new way of doing things using technology, like conducting meetings through Zoom, Microsoft Teams, etc. Therefore, it may be important to invest in such technology. In the long run, there may be significant savings from reduced travel expenses and also per diem. Furthermore, there may be a need to work from home. The need to work from home requires internet and laptops. Organizations may need or should provide laptops and internet to employees to enable them work from home. If not to all, consider key staff and accountants first. I know on the ground that some organizations, they have challenges in this area. There is a need to work from home, but the workers, employees, they have no equipment to do so. Number 6, and the last one, Mr. Chair, bankruptcy versus right sizing. Hard times demand that hard decisions should be taken. One of the hard times decision is deciding whether we keep all the employees and run the organization bankrupt, or right size and keep the organization going. The bad but better decision would be to right size in order to keep the organization doing its God-given mission with a fewer employees. Therefore, this may require management working with their governing boards, review and revise their human capital authorized establishments while taking into consideration the existing labor laws in various countries. Questions like, do we need all the workforce that we currently have? Is the organization able to pay salaries for the whole current workforce? If the answer to these questions is no, then it may be necessary to right size. In the presence of COVID-19, Mr. Chair, budgeting for 2021 may be a serious challenge. However, with proper planning and trust in the Almighty God, we may face the future with confidence. We are told the means in our possession may not seem to be sufficient for the work, but if we will move in faith, believing in the all-sufficient power of God, abundant resources will open before us. If the work be of God, He Himself will provide the means for its accomplishment. At Desire of Ages, page 371. Mr. Chair, then I would move to the next document so that possibly if there are observations and questions, they can be asked together. I don't know whether we can pause here for comments or I present the second document as well before comments are made.
Okay, I don't know what the wish of the House is. We could ask the Treasurer to go ahead and present financial statements and we vote it in one block, or we could just vote the report on its own. What's your pleasure?
The next one is this summary that I just on the report. I want to mention a few things before we vote.
I think just mention this one and then we vote and then we go to financial statements.
Okay. Mr. Chair, on the screen here is a spreadsheets, tables which are showing the items as indicated there. I display this information from 2015 to 2020 March. There isn't much that has changed since we met in November 2029 on our finances, but I would like to point to the August House to say the trends as we see them. For example, the cash there on the line number 3, the trends there are on a downward trend. And we also notice that there is the number 5, the downward trend on the accounts receivables. On the cash there, the change mainly happened due to the payments that we made to reduce our current liabilities in line number 7. And also the accounts receivable, I just want to mention to see the trend that you see there. Mainly is not that organizations paid their monies, that they were all with the division, but it's because of the currency fluctuations and devaluations in some of our unions. And then we also look at the number 8, we find a downward trend of our net assets from 2015 to March 2020. Therefore, I go to the second table, Mr. Chair, there where we are showing the incomes, net tithe and offerings. We also see that there is a downward trend there. And this is what we have been discussing all along because of the broad currencies, and now it is going to be compounded by this coronavirus. And one of the things that really has given us serious challenges in our finances is the exchange losses that we have incurred since 2016. First of all, due to the currency fluctuations in some of our union territories. And this is not even getting better, it is getting worse. Because even for the March message here, that the figure you see for the 15 million, these figures are in millions, is not only because of devaluations, but because of the losses we are making on our investments in the US. And this has the gain losses, the exchange losses have almost always impacted on our bottom line. The net increase, we have had nothing since 2018. And then the next step, Mr. Chair, is showing the working capital and liquidity salary allowances and figures, which is also showing the same trend. For example, if you look at line number 22, the actual working capital there has been going down ever since because of the external and internal forces that are impacting on our finances and the economy in general. And the working capital there for 2019 and 2020, they are unaudited, and we believe that after the audit, they will be adjusted, especially the liquidity, because we have a serious loss in again exchange loss due to what I have mentioned, which will need to be funded. And the salary and allowances percentages, we started really getting a bigger one, and higher ones in 2018 because of the broad currencies that really. Then down there are those graphs there that just what we have shown there. What I can say is that the trend on the financial dashboard seems not to be going better. And I believe that with this coronavirus, the trends will continue going down and even getting worse. Therefore, it is imperative, Mr. Chair, that a look and a review of our structures and our strategies may be necessary so that we really operate within this situation as we can see it. And I'm happy to inform the August House that the administration is sitting down seriously to look into what revisions and what reviewing can be done in order to make sure that we are able to operate within the resources that are becoming available. What is very challenging also is that despite the fact that our membership in division is growing, but our finances are not. And this is also possibly the economic situation in the world, and possibly a need for us to look at the strategies on how we can deal with the stewardship in our territory. I therefore move, Mr. Chair, that the Treasury report be accepted and received as presented. Thank you.
Any second to the Treasurer's report and summary of finances? Is it seconded there?
It is seconded, Brother Chairman.
Yes, it's seconded. Okay, it's before us. What are your observations on the Treasurer's report? Okay. Silence means consent, and that's beautiful. Can we now have the voting sheet?
Brother Chairman, there was a hand raised.
One that has just arrived now from Miguel and KK. In that order.
And Pastor Bonya.
I don't have Pastor Bonya here.
He raised his hand.
Okay. Yes. In this order, Miguel, KK, Pastor Bonya, and Mr. Masu, in that order.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity. Good morning, everybody. I will not comment on the report, but of course, I would like to have a comment that, of course, now that we are turning our meetings to these new technologies, and we are now, this is the only way of conduct our meetings. I'm a bit concerned about the sensitive documents of the organization, like financial report and also others sensitive documents. These technologies, they are really safe. Can we trust that we can share during our meetings those kind of documents? How safe is it? So this is my concern, because as you know, we are in the world that many things can happen. So my comment on it, I don't know if those technologies are very safe or not, and how we can deal with sensitive documents when we conduct those kind of meetings. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Elder Miguel. Yeah, that's a very important observation. I hear what you are saying. I wish I could say, well, we are very secure and no one will touch it. But I am not sure I can say that. I don't know what my colleagues think. Elder Ngomba, would you have something to say?
Yes, Mr. Chair. The concern is very genuine, and it is very important for us to be thinking security in line with what we have said. In this case, I would like to say possibly we can get a response from IT, because we have discussed this in our previous interactions about how we can be able to present information. I am sure Mr. Moyo would be able to give in some explanation and some response.
Okay. Mr. Moyo.
Right, Mr. Chair, for high-level information, there is no problem. Since we are live streaming all of this information onto YouTube and Facebook, it's public information. But when we go to specific information that is very personal, for instance, if you are now putting people's names to salaries, yeah, that becomes sensitive information. And we cannot go live with such information. But for high-level general information, we are okay, because this information, anything that's electronic, is regarded as unsafe now.
Okay. Yes, that's the response. And Elder Spencer also wants to speak on the security issue. Yes, Elder Spencer, please come in.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. In fact, everything that we have said so far has been live streamed. So the documents that we have showed so far, the things we have said, everything is available to anyone in the world who wants to tune in. There's nothing secure about what we have done. Personally, I wonder about that if we are thinking carefully what is confidential and what is not confidential. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, although you left me hanging, Dave. Yeah, it's true. It's not secure, but well, that's how work is done. I don't know. Maybe we can find out from GC and those that have run this road ahead of us. I am not sure. And for mid-year particularly, the reason for mid-year to meet is not a long agenda. It is to review the finances. That's the reason that mid-year meets. You can check with GC. That's the main reason why mid-year meetings meet, to review the finances. So that's why we did at the general conference, and it's quite scary. It's quite scary. I wish we had a way of doing it that does not expose us. But until we get to know that way, I don't know. We will check, ask questions. And if any one of us knows a more secure way, please, you are a member of this executive committee, help us. That's why we are here. Okay, then we had the other names. We had, on this one, we had Elder Kenaope, we had Elder Masugu, we have Elder Akongwa, and we have Elder Namitondo, Sister Sikwa, Pastor Pacheco, Pastor Munyengwe, Caroline Chola, in that order.
Hello, Mr. Chairman.
We are here.
Yes. I have 3 items. The first one is on the GC investments. The treasurer of the division mentioned that much of the loss we have in the cash section, which I also followed carefully, has to do not only with the exchange rates, but also with our investments. I had wanted to know earlier in some other meetings the impact of that to union by union in terms of the investments on retirement that we have with the general conference. And then the second point, there are only 3, is the issue of live streaming as we do it at the general conference, which you know it very well, probably better than me. I know that there are items that they don't live stream. Normally what they will do, if there is an item they feel it doesn't need to be live streamed, they don't live stream it. And they will normally even say, we will not live stream this one. Now, my main worry, Mr. Chair, is what Dr. David Spencer mentioned. I know that the issue of confidentiality is normal, because the moment you go live, you cannot hold anyone liable for the aspect of confidentiality because you chose to expose yourself, which is okay if that's what you want. But my challenge is, I wish, Mr. Chair, we could note, particularly on the issue of finances, where we have to touch on items of the actual amounts we have in terms of the issues of bankruptcy, changing our approaches on budget. I wish that could be not live streamed. It is our choice to choose not to do that. There is a reason. In other countries, it may be a challenge depending on who is interpreting what. So I don't know, Mr. Chair. I think after this you can evaluate it yourselves as the officers, because it's your choice. It's just that you didn't involve us to find out which things we can live stream. I'm definitely the one for finances. Given a choice, I wouldn't recommend. The last point, Mr. Chair, is on the 95%, the number 2 on the presentation on COVID and budgetary considerations for 2021. Point number 2, I would like the treasurer of the division to just reiterate or explain. He says the 95% that we usually use when we budget may not necessarily work, which I agree 100%. But then he says maybe the management can look at the actualized income and manualize it, and then we change as finances improve. I'm wondering, Mr. Chair, can that be put as a treasury item either to ADCOM or to this committee to make for that allowance? Because auditors, I'm not too sure if they will accept that. Well, it was said by the division verbally. Because when they audit, they will stick to this one, the 95%, unless it was an action. I thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Elder Ngomba, I see your name is here as an officer division.
Okay.
Yes.
I want to make a comment, Mr. Chair, and then after that one, I'm going to respond to what the previous speaker spoken. I'm saying that maybe due to the observations, the nexus may be put offline. if that would be really in the interest of the organization, and I think the chair is free with that one. That's what I wanted to mention as a comment. To say, of course, we are dealing with maybe different audiences who have different understanding of things. We may possibly do well to put offline the financial discussion that we'll be presenting from a financial statements, if that pleases the chair. But my response to what the previous speaker said is that on the investments, most of our investments are with the GC, and the GC is the one that is managing those investments. And as we all know, that even the US, the economy there is world common as a whole is volatile. So the investments have really not been spared. That's why you find that in March already there is a big exchange loss that we have made due to that. And we also know that those unions who are investing with the GC, they are also not spared. But the communication between the GC and us, the ITV and the union is open. So the unions are supposed to say what they want, and some unions have already made their decisions and the institutions about how they want their investment to be. Some have recorded the investment to come back, some have reclassified, and that's what also we are doing. We are working with the GC investment office on how we can do the best in terms of investments. So that's what I can say on investments. On the budgets, what we have said here, there are observations, whether I don't know whether they are guidance, but there are things that we need to think about. The one that he is mentioning about the traditional way is that usually in August, we look at the actual income that we have received, and then we annualize that one to December, and then we take 95% as income for the following year. Now, in this situation, where possibly we'll get 60% of what we almost always get, or 40%, would it be really helpful to annualize that one, maybe in August, if that is the month that we are going to use this month, and then you take 95% of that. So that's what I'm saying. Depending on the situation, the administration management can look into that and say that maybe this policy of 95 may not work. But in every decision that we are going to, those revisions are approved by our governing bodies. Otherwise, the auditors are going to report us. They will not really mind that we revised, but they will mind if that revision was not voted or authorized by the Excom or the courts. Thank you so much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you so very much, my elder. I think that answers it. Here I am going to single out other people who I think can come in by virtue of positions they have, not necessarily when their name came up to me. I have Elder Fraha here in Pozembizi, and then after that I see some suggestions are coming to me, which I had already discussed earlier with someone, like live streaming. We were going to move to financial statements. We are not going to live stream them. Yes, so thank you so much. We are not going to live stream financial statements. That was a summary which was live streamed, but we are not going to live stream. Elder Pozembizi, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to talk on two things. The first one is on budget. Looking at the downfall or down tendency of the downtrend of the budget, I was thinking, how is it again relevant to continue to have a fixed budget And I'm thinking even something new, which is not common in practice, if there is a possibility to adopt a flexible budgeting approach so that the financial office, the CFO's office, will be monitoring the budget, and then maybe every month they can say, now we are voting this budget. If the division votes a method of voting the budget, adopt it, and see how it will be practical in the environment, that will be an approach to adopt. Because the trend, declining trend of just in 3 months, and we are talking about the period when the COVID effect was not yet there. Now I'm wondering what will be the trend in May, in June. So maybe the flexible budgeting approach can be looked into. Another point is the security. The security, everything streamlined. It can go to anywhere. Even some people, there is nowadays the possibility just to record the screen. Screen, whatever is on the screen, just is tapped. And somebody can just highlight and just, how call it, crop what they want to show the world. And my concern is most of the people who are taking this information, their mind is not to do good. They have a harmful mind. And they will go just misinterpret and then amplify a little thing which can be fixed. They will amplify it. So I support the idea that when we are about to discuss sensitive issues, we can go offline. That's my contribution, my observation, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, thank you so much, and it's a valid one. We also, from the comments that were made earlier on, we are not going to live stream any financial items, any financial detail. We may discuss otherwise, but we are not live streaming any financial detail. Thank you so very much. We have a long list of people that want to speak. And as a result of that, and for the sake of time, I am going to give each person at least 3 minutes at most, and then we move. For the sake of us finishing, because I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 people that want to speak. So for the sake of time, I am going to make sure that we regulate. Elder Reneke, help me keep time, please. 2 minutes per person, and then we move on. We start with Mr. Masubu, Ndabezinhle Masubu.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have 2 quick items. I think the first one relates to the issue of security that we're discussing. I actually wanted to applaud the SIT for going this route, because it also, not only is it transparent, but it also allows the membership to see us in a positive light in terms of having nothing to hide. Maybe what is required is some kind of a standardized approach, maybe with engagement with the GC. If we can have a format of how we can present financial information that can be standardized across the board, meaning to say, even if someone was to crop, it's information that's already in the public domain, just like listed corporates and so on, who publish their financial statements in the public. So maybe it's an issue of standardization, which we can look into and see. The second one relates to the report given by the CFO, which I wanted to support and appreciate, because it's clearly are noting that it's not business as usual. What I really wanted to say, which connects with some of the earlier items that we discussed, is that I'm observing that COVID-19 has, I think it's disrupted our operations. We've given it too much credit. Maybe that's what I wanted to say, to the extent that if we were to invest in technology that allows us to continue as usual, there's a time when we couldn't imagine having an Excom electronically. We are having it. We should start seeing if there's technology that can allow us to have sessions electronically, so that we are not continuing to, postpone our normal operations outside of the normal times when they should be implemented. It's not proper for us to, be thinking of sessions 2 years from now. For people who are actually interested parties thinking of having sessions, 2 years from now. The GC is clear, but I'm saying for our own union sessions, let's have them when we are supposed to have them. Let's invest in the technology that is going to allow us to operate when we are supposed to operate, as and when we are supposed to operate. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Masugu. That's well said. That's very well said. And we hope we are going to get to that time when we can do huge meetings such as sessions electronically. Thank you very much. And for pointing out that large corporations display their statements. But for now, we want to find out from the GC and be cautious. Okay, the next one is Elder Akombwa. Elder Akombwa, please.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to request that the Treasurer can again display the first page of his report. My point is on that one.
Yes, the one that doesn't have numbers. Yes. Elder Ngomba? Yes. There we are. Yes, Elder Akombwa, go ahead.
Brother Akombwa has now been unmuted, Mr. Chairman.
Right there.
Okay.
Right there, thank you. I want to commend our CFO for going ahead, thinking of the situation where we are, and coming up with some possible approaches that could help us cope with the situation as it is. There is no doubt that income is beginning to be affected by the COVID-19 situation. What I wanted to ask is, since we are moving from the fixed or the traditional approach, we may have to do that. How are we going to be submitting trust funds to the division? What method are we going to use? Because until now, we use what we submitted in history. We use that as a yardstick. The division expects that this union will submit so much. But with this scenario where things are changing, what happens to the expectations and the yardstick? How are we going to really apply this, in my view, a very pragmatic approach? We are where we are. How do we relate this to history and how we have operated? I'm using a layman's language, but maybe the CFO can understand me.
Yes, thank you, Elder Ngomba. These are the days of the coronavirus. I see that Elder Bonya, Elder Akombwa, and most elders have a beard.
Okay, I'll grow mine, Mr. Chair. I'm still watering it, so just expect to see it one day. Thank you, Mr. Chair. One use of trust fund reports. Trust fund reports are submitted electronically, but if he means about the percentages, how much each level remits to the higher organization, that is beyond the scope of my office. But what I would suggest that since this is a sharing arrangement, it is better that the law organizations continue to share the little they have upwards, so that we can all still participate into the mission of the change. But in terms of the percentages, I think that's beyond my scope of the office scope, and it will require the policy committees to look into this if the the situation does not change. But it's really important that we should realize that things have changed, and some of the changes will be permanent, and we need to make sure that we become aware of these changes and work with them and find ways by God's grace to mitigate some of the challenges that we will continue facing. I'm not sure whether I have completely answered it, but if there are some who can assist me, they are welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't see Elder Komba following up. Then we move on to other people, and we stay with our 2 minutes. We have Elder Namitondo. Elder Namitondo, please. Tommy Namitondo.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
A few issues. Let me start with the security one. It has been talked about, but I think next time, because we know we may have all these things included in November program, it's better to decide in advance what will be things that are not for live streaming, things that can be live streamed well in advance. This world has become so corrupt that anything that we think is safe may not be safe. But my point is on coronavirus and budgeting, as the report has been. I see that what we have seen, as the has said, is not the effect of coronavirus as yet. The effects of coronavirus are coming in the reports of May, June, and July, probably as the first in Africa. And we are told in Africa, coronavirus has not started yet. This is a preamble of coronavirus. It is starting probably in June and July. So we could be in more serious problems than we have seen yet. And it's time, I think, not only to pray, but to plan for 2021, because it will not be a year as usual. Things are tough. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. You were short and to the point. Look, in as far as security issues, I think we have covered that. If you were going to talk about security, unless you are saying something that has not been said, let's move on. Thank you for the contribution, Elder. Let us move on to the next one is Dr. Sikwa, then Pastor Pacheco, and Elder Mnyangwe. In that order, please. If it's security, we have covered security, we have heard. Yes, let's move on.
Hello.
Dr. Sikwa, yes.
Yes, thank you very much.